Hey guys, it's Maria Cassandra, aka No Guilt Girl, and I'm here to show you another no guilt recipe. So today, I'm really super excited about the recipe that I'm going to share with you today because it's really simple, and I think that it is going to be extremely easy for you to grasp, and it's a really big show-off recipe because, well, let's take a look. This is a gorgeous piece of organic Scottish salmon. I just got it yesterday night, so it's super fresh. And I'm going to teach you guys how to cook restaurant-style salmon. Here we're going to do this with a honey chipotle lime glaze. And I have some organic honey here. So we're going to start off with just putting about 2 tablespoons of honey since we have 2 pieces of salmon. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the juice. This ugly looking stuff is chipotle peppers in a can because they're really hard to find in a grocery store, not in a can. So we're using this. They're very cheap and the taste is awesome, and it adds a really nice smoky flavor to what you're cooking. So again, we're gonna add some of the juice. I mean, if you get some pieces of the pepper, it's totally fine, but go try to get more of the juice because that's what's going to glaze the salmon. So we're gonna add that to the honey, and I'm adding about 2 tablespoons or so. See, we got a big chunk in there. The stuff is pretty spicy, so if you're not a huge fan of spicy food, you're gonna wanna go a little less on this. But you definitely don't wanna cut it out completely because it adds a really, like I said, a really smoky flavor that's going to give you that chipotle kind of Tex-Mex flavor that a lot of people like, that I happen to love a lot, and pairs very well with avocado. So we're gonna set this aside for now, and then I'm going to give a squeeze of lime just to have some acidity in there to break up the spicy and the sweetness. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a fork, and we're going to give it a nice little stir. And that's our glaze, guys. I mean, it's really simple. I didn't want to overcomplicate the glaze because I wanted you to still be able to taste the salmon, especially if you have access to really good Alaskan, Scottish, wild king salmon, whatever you can get where you live. So, all right, we're going to start cooking this stuff, and I hope you guys are hungry. So the first step to cooking our delicious chipotle lime glazed salmon is getting a hot pan, preferably a cast iron. I just like the crust it gives on my food, and I feel like every chef needs to have a cast iron pan. I have been cooking this salmon skin side down for about 2 minutes. I've been pressing on it like I showed you. And now we are going to let it cook for another 4 minutes. So that's 6 minutes total skin side down to get a really nice crispy skin. And another thing is that once the pan is hot, you don't need to keep the heat super high, because then it's going to burn some parts of the skin and then other parts are going to be uncooked. So you just want a nice steady sizzle. You don't need it to be like splattering all over the place, and plus it'll be a pain in the butt to clean. So right before we turn it over, I'm actually going to give it a nice sprinkle of, this is kosher sea salt, and that's all to taste. And then we're going to give it some cracked black pepper. And we'll check back in about 2 more minutes when we flip it over. Okay guys, I'm really excited because we got our skin crispy, and I know that it's ready to turn because it's actually released from the pan, meaning when I try to scoop it up, as you can see, it comes right off. It's not sticking, and that's what you want. If the salmon is sticking to the pan, then that means one of 2 things. You either didn't preheat the pan enough, or it's not ready to be turned. So make sure you do preheat the pan so you know what the variable is, and that's an easy fix. You just leave it on the pan for a little bit longer. But this is perfect. So now I'm going to take our glaze, and I'm going to brush it on top. Depending on how concentrated and sweet that you want the glaze, you can just do 1 for a subtle flavor, but I'm going to do about 2 or 3, and I'm going to get the sides because I really like the flavor of this glaze. And it's gonna sizzle and do all that fun stuff because you're putting a liquid into the pan. And before the skin has contact with that liquid, we're gonna flip her on over. And as you can see, our skin is nice and crispy. crispy that skin is. There is not one soft or burnt part on that skin. It's absolutely delicious. I call it fish bacon. So we're going to leave it on this side for about 2 minutes. We're just gonna kiss it because salmon tends to get very chalky if overly done. So like I said, set your timers for 2 minutes if you have to. It's going to be nice medium to medium rare. Probably more medium down here, medium rare towards here because it's thicker. If you do like your salmon cooked more, then you can cook it for another 2 minutes or so. But just be careful. I really hate an overcooked piece of salmon and I don't want you to have one. So we'll check back in another minute or so. Alright, so it's been about 2 minutes on this side and it's probably just how I like it because I've definitely got this whole process down. I'm going to season the skin with salt while it's hot so it absorbs. I like a nice crunchy, kind of salty skin. It reminds me of a potato chip from the sea. Give it some cracked black pepper. However, I do not want you guys, I don't recommend you guys putting the glaze on the skin because the liquid will make the skin soggy again and then it's just not good when it's soggy. So, I'm gonna get my tongs and I'm going to, look at that, some nice beautiful color there. I'm gonna serve it skin side up only because I want the skin to stay crispy, but you can see the other side, it's nice and caramelized from the glaze. So we're gonna let that go there and we have a lime in the pan and we're going to set that down. We're gonna let this salmon cool off for a little bit and then we'll cut inside and see what that baby looks like. Alright guys, so here we have the finished product. I did a little bit of plating magic. I used some of the reserved marinade from, well, the glaze that was not contaminated by the raw salmon germs. I kept it to the side and I put it on the plate before I plated the salmon and then I swirled a little bit of Faya whole milk yogurt because it gives it a really rich, creamy flavor and just splurge a little. You gotta use the whole milk stuff. It just has so much better flavor. And I also got some scallions on there and a little bit of a charred lime. All right, so now comes the real test. As you can see, the front looks beautiful. The glaze got a little caramelized. And then let's give this a 360 turn. And you can see the skin is crisp, but it's not burnt and it's evenly cooked on the entire layer. So you are not going to have a one bite of soggy skin, my friend. So now comes the real test and we're going to cut into this and see what it looks like on the inside. And there you have it. Moist and delicious, not raw, but not even close to being overdone. So juicy. And you know what? I'm gonna give myself a little bite. Oh, gonna ruin my nice plating, but someone's gotta do it. Let's give this a try. Try it with a little bit of sauce. Give me a moment. Thank you so much for staying with me for another episode of No Guilt Girl. I hope that I can make all of your salmon dreams come true. Never again will you have an overdone, dry piece of salmon that sticks to the pan. You're welcome. In the meantime, you can stay tuned for my next episode of No Guilt Girl. And just to give you a little hint, other than the fact that it's obviously healthy, it's going to be something to perhaps cool off the palate.
Now I'm here, don't say it's too late to try those tears and check your vital signs.